What's up? All right, so another story time, of course. So, this is the story time about how me and one of my exes got in a fight. The neighbors called the cops, and when the cops got there, she ran away. So, after I tell you that story, it'll segue into how I got admitted to a mental hospital. All right, so starting from the beginning. I think I told part of this story before, but if not, then here it goes. If I did, oh well. So, starting off, we lived together in my apartment. She lived about 7.5 hours away, and I got tired of driving back and forth 7.5 hours each way because I lived in Dallas, she lived in Corpus Christi. So, after I got tired of driving back and forth every other weekend, yeah, it was every other weekend, not gonna lie, because I had weekends off, so every weekend was kind of ridiculous. And plus, like, she worked and everything, so every other weekend is what worked out for us. So we started going out in November, and I got tired around September of the next year, and so we were together a little over a year. But when she left Corpus Christi, she came and she moved in with me. And that was the agreement that, okay, hey, you are done with school, like, quit your job and, like, give them your 2 weeks. And, I'll come down there and we'll just move you and your stuff in my apartment. So at that time, we were on, like, a little bit of a break. So the agreement was, if you come live with me, we're going to be together again, because I'm not driving 7.5 hours to bring you down here to not be together with you anymore. Because if that's the case, you can just stay where you're at and go date somebody else. So that actually was her idea. So we agreed that before I went and go and got her, that we would get back together. There was nothing really wrong with us. It was just like she kept getting kind of like overwhelmed, I guess you could say, with the long distance. And then, she had never done it before. So, it would get to her sometimes that, like, I wasn't right there. And every other weekend, we just got closer and closer. So, like, when I was gone, it was really hard for her. I'm used to long distance relationships, so it wasn't hard for me. And plus, I worked, I think, 70, 80 hours a week. And so I would just go visit her on payday. So she moves in with me. It's September. I really don't know what happened. We got back together and we got into this huge fight. And the fight ended up being very physical on her part. Because if you guys know me by now, I'll get my ass beat before I put my hands on a female. And you've heard stories about that before. Except the one time. What happened in New York was not my fault. Okay? I couldn't fight back. Anyways, so this was a one-on-one fight. The reason that the fight started is because she was on FaceTime all night with some girl that she claimed was her friend. First of all, you're not on FaceTime with a friend while you're living with your girlfriend until 6 o'clock in the morning. And I had to go to work the next day. So I slept on the fucking couch because she was in our room talking on FaceTime. And I was like, okay, I can't sleep. So I went and I slept on the couch. So I had to be to work at 8. I lived 45 minutes away from my job. So by the time she was hanging up the phone, I had to get up and start getting ready to go, take my dog outside and jump in the car and drive 45 minutes to work. So I happened to be going slow this morning, because I didn't get any sleep. I slept on the couch. I was fucking irritated because I missed my bed. My bed was fucking comfortable. I should have made her sleep on the couch if she wanted to be on the phone all goddamn night. So I was like, something's not right with that. Like, how do you come live here and then you're on the phone with some girl all night? Like, we're not together. So I approached her about it. I said, so you don't just be on FaceTime till 6 in the morning with just a friend. Like, what's going on? Like, what are you up to? And she's like, nothing. She's just my friend. Like, I don't have any friends out here and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, I get it. You don't have any friends to hang out with. And my friends are your friends. But, you know, you don't always have to just hang out with me and my friends. I would like for you to make more friends. I just would not like for you to be on FaceTime with them until 6 o'clock in the morning. And I can't even sleep in my own goddamn bed. So about 45 minutes later, almost an hour later, which would be like, it was like 7:15. I hadn't left the house yet. So clearly I was going to be late for work. So I hear a knock at my door. And I'm like, who the fuck is coming to my house at 7:15 in the morning? So I opened my door, my front door, and there's this woman standing there. And I'm like, who the fuck are you? And she was like, oh, I'm here for blank. And I said, you're here for who? And then my ex comes out of the room and she goes, oh, that's my friend. And I said, this was the bitch you were on FaceTime with until 6 o'clock in the morning? What is she doing on my front doorstep? And she was like, oh, well, her and her mom got into it, so she couldn't be at the house. So I told her she could come over here and we're going to sleep for a little bit and then we're going to go run some errands. I said, you're going to sleep where? And she was like, in the room. Oh, no, the fuck you're not. Do you not hear what's wrong with that sentence? We're going to sleep in the room. So you mean you and your friend are going to sleep in our bed? And then you're going to just get up and go run errands and spend the day with each other when you just spent the night on FaceTime with this bitch. So I made the girl leave. I said, I'm not sure why she invited you or told you it was okay to be here, but this is my house and you got to go. And so, of course, my ex got mad at me. You can't kick her out like that. That's so rude. I was like, yeah, no, it's not. What's rude is that you didn't even ask me, can somebody come over here and chill with you while I'm at work? That's what is rude. So I made the girl leave. And I watched her go downstairs. I watched her get in her car. And I watched her leave. I don't know where she went, but she left. Because she was not going to be in my house, especially if I was going to be at work. So now I looked at the time. It's like 7:40 and I still haven't left the house yet. I had to be to work at 8. So I just called my boss and I was like, you know what? I can't make it. I have to go to the emergency room or something. I said something that got me out of going to work, which was really horrible because I was a manager. So for me to call out meant that another manager had to come in on their day off. So I wasn't thinking about that. I thought about it later on and then I was like, oh, that was really fucked up. But at the point that I was at, like, I was so pissed off and so frustrated that this bitch showed up at my house unannounced that I called out of work. I was like, I'm not going to make it, like, blah, blah, blah. So I watched the girl leave. And then that's when me and her got into it. She was so pissed off at me that I made her friend leave. And she didn't understand why I wouldn't let her stay. And she asked me, like, why did I have to get permission from you? Well, first of all, I invited you into my house. And our agreement was that we were going to be together. So I don't appreciate you being on the phone with some other girl all fucking night. Mind you, they started talking on FaceTime at 5 the previous evening. So you were on FaceTime with a bitch for 13 hours. And you don't see nothing wrong with that? Stay tuned for part 2.